Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. So today we get to take a look at the all-new 2023 Lexus ES 350 F Sport. Huge shout out to Hendrick Lexus Northlake for providing this sedan for me today. Check out their website, that link is down in the description. The model that you see behind me is finished off in Obsidian, and we'll go over the MSRP once we get this out on the road to go through all the features and specs for this F Sport Lexus. We'll start off today's review though with what powers this F Sport. Underneath the hood is the 3.5 liter V6 paired to the 8-speed automatic transmission. It pumps out 302 horsepower, 267 pound-feet of torque. That power is sent to the front wheels. This weighs in right around 3,700 pounds. It'll do 0 to 60 in 6.5 seconds with a top speed of 131 miles an hour. It also has a fuel capacity of 15.9 gallons. You'll expect to see around 22 miles per gallon in the city, 31 out on the highway. This also has a wheelbase of 113 inches. Its overall length is 195.9. It has a width of 73.4 and a height of 56.9 inches. As we move on to the exterior styling now for this ES 350, let's start off with the grille and the Lexus badge front and center, because this is also the forward-facing sensor for the adaptive cruise. So it's nice that it doesn't break up the rest of this grille that has plenty of cutouts and a nice design. Very functional to provide a lot of cooling to that engine. With its hourglass design, the entire surround is finished off in black chrome, which has a nice look to it. There's also parking sensors in that grille too. And on each side, this has the LED headlights, DRLs, and turn signals with a really nice crisp design. Lexus is always known for having that really crisp point for the DRL. Very iconic for the brand. I think it looks really good, especially with all the bodywork. The DRL also makes its way to the side of the vehicle, so it separates itself from the headlights and the high beams just slightly. You'll notice in the lower section too on each side, there's more of the gloss black trim, and then we have more of the black running in the lower section of the bumper. And with the hourglass design for that grille, the lines also extend from the point and they break off to the hood, going all the way to the base. So it matches very nicely. It gives it a really cool sporty look. For this F Sport model, this gets a set of 19-inch wheels finished off in black with that multi-spoke design. It also gets the F Sport suspension. The F Sport badge is just behind that front tire too. This has body-colored side mirrors with a chrome accent along with the integrated turn signal. There's also a sunroof. More of that chrome makes its way around the window trim. And then for the rest of the lines for the sedan, just gives it a really nice look. Nothing too crisp for the side like you saw up front. Flows very nicely all the way to the rear, where it does have a line running right at the height of the door handles, and then a little bit of a flare for that rear fender flare. And then for the rear, this does have a trunk mounted spoiler finished off in black, has a backup camera with all the parking sensors, LED taillights as well, with more of that black chrome running right through the middle of the power trunk. There's also some more of that chrome trim in the lower section, and then the dual exhaust on each side. So with the exterior wrapped up, let's work our way to the cargo space, where you can use the button on the key fob, of course, or this hidden button over on the right side. And just by pushing that, the power trunk will open up. Now there are some items in the back at the moment, but this has a lot of space, especially for the size. There's also a spare tire underneath the floor. And then the back seats do not fold down, but there is a cutout right in the middle. So if you have some longer items or you need to gain access to the trunk area, you have a small area to do that, which is nice to see. And then for the power trunk, simply just push on that button and it will automatically close. And now we can work our way to these back seats. So for the interior on this ES 350, we have the black leather along with some brush trim. For the upper section, all of the stitching, there's even more of that brush trim on the release handle. This has a 10-speaker audio sound system, a little bit of storage space in the lower section of the door as well. And then for the interior with the full black leather, gives it a nice touch. Now I am 5'10", so hopping into the back of this, it's a very spacious sedan. So I have plenty of room to enter and exit. Now there's a storage bin behind both front seats if you need to use those. 2 air vents in the middle along with some auxiliaries, so you can easily charge electronics as you need to. And then for the center armrest, you do have 2 cup holders just by opening that up. And like I mentioned earlier, with this cut through, this is a lockable bin, so you can open that if you need to get into the trunk area there. And as far as visibility goes, we have a small pillar there, so it is easy to see all around for your backseat passengers. And as far as headroom goes, at 5'10", hopefully you can see the headliner goes up. So I have about an inch of room above my head, so I can be comfortable and go for a long cruise in the back of this car. It's pretty spacious, which is nice to see. Now, what I also forgot, you can actually lock and unlock the vehicle using the back door handles, as well as the front door handles, of course. And then for the front door panel, this has all the memory seating adjustments, all of the window controls, the power folding side mirror adjustments, more of that trim, and more storage space as well. And then for the front seats, they almost have a bucket design to them with the F-Sport badge up in the headrest. Very nice design and perforations. They are automatic, so all those adjustments are down on the side. And then it's just as easy to enter these front seats. You don't have to reach too far for that grab handle, so that's nice. For the steering wheel, it's covered in solid and perforated leather with the F-Sport badge at the bottom. On this left side, there's volume as well as Bluetooth and voice controls. Some more controls for the gauge cluster, which we'll come back to. On this right side, there's tuning and mode along with the cruise control settings. But let's fire this up. With my foot on the brake, that button is down on the right side. We can bring this to life. And looking at the gauge cluster, on the left side is the engine temperature, on the right side is the fuel gauge, and with the tach right in the middle, there's a lot of info within that tach that you can go through using those controls over on the left side of the steering wheel. So currently it's showing miles per hour along with the current MPG. If I scroll down, there's range along with reset. You can look at your gear position. There's tire pressure. You can change your miles per hour to kilometers per hour if you need to. There's also a blank page along with the distance pacing. And then if I push on the pages button, the entire tach will shift to the right. Now over on that left side, you can currently see the compass. I can pull up the radio, look at that distance pacing again, any messages that may appear. And then there's a lot of standard safety features like your lane departure, your sensitivity, you have your adaptive cruise, and some other icons here that you can go through and features just depending on what you'd like to see. You can also pull up a G-force meter, look at that gear position again, and some of the other information that you just saw. It's just nice to see it in a little bit bigger of a screen, so that way if you want to view it, you can. If you want it more subtle and out of the way, you can position that tach to be front and center. Pretty awesome to have that. Now this also has steering wheel mounted paddle shifters, finished off in a dark trim, which matches nicely with the rest of this trim. Over on the left side of the steering wheel, there's the fuel cap and the trunk release, along with the hood release. There's also a little bit of storage if you want to place some items there. More of that brush trim, along with one air vent. And then on each side of the gauge cluster, there's a knob. So on this left side, if I push on that, that is for traction control. So you can turn that on and off simply by pushing on that. And then for the right side, these are all the different driving modes. So if I push on this, that is for the custom setting. If I twist it down, that is for Eco. And if I twist it up, that is for Sport S. If I twist it up one more time, that is for Sport S Plus. You will see the entire tach change. Pretty awesome to have those graphics. And again, just depending on how you'd like to drive. And then for the center infotainment system, you can see there's a lot to go through. We have the navigation, you have music, shortcut to your phone. If I go into the car here, you can go through the climate, your comfort as well. So the heated and ventilated seats, along with the heated steering wheel. There's trip information along with vehicle alert. And then with the settings buttons down below, you can configure this as you need to, going through all of these different settings. So there's not a whole lot of info, but it is easy to use. Surrounded in piano black with the clock over on that left side. There are two air vents underneath that. And then right in the middle, these are all the climate adjustments. So if I use the fan speed there, you'll see that adjust on the top. We can turn this on. You have temperature controls on each side, along with where you'd like the air to go and a few other settings. It's laid out very well and easy to use. Now on this left side, there's actually two dials. There's tuning and power for the audio. So it's nice to see those incorporated together, and then a few other controls for that as well. Moving below that, there are physical buttons for the heated and ventilated seats, along with the heated steering wheel. So if you're not in that upper screen, you can still quickly get to them. There is a little bit of storage just underneath that, along with two cup holders on that right side. And then looking at the gear shifter with the perforated leather, has a nice design to it. If I put this vehicle into reverse, you will see that backup camera up here with the guidelines. You have a few different settings and guidelines that you can set up, just depending on what you'd like to see. And then down into the manual setting allows you to use those paddle shifters, which is of course great to have. There's an auto hold just behind that, along with the wireless charging pad, which is nice to see. For the center armrest, which is finished off in leather, you can actually open it up each way. So if your driver needs access or your passenger, makes it very convenient. There's also some auxiliaries so you can still charge electronics. And then for the glove box, just by pushing on that button there, you have plenty of space for all of that information. We'll take another look at this interior. Very, very subtle, but it gives it a classy look. And like I mentioned, this does have a sunroof, so we have that manual adjustment with the sunroof controls being able to open and close it. And then you'll see the touch sensitive dome lights are just in front of that. Setting off now behind the wheel for this ES350 F Sport. This particular model has an MSRP at just over $50,000. And personally, I think that's a pretty good deal for the sedan that you're getting. Now, Lexuses are known for being a little bit more luxurious. They don't have quite as much technology as some of the other competitors, but I will say what it does have is plentiful. It has exactly what you're looking for without those extra bells and whistles. And I think that is what Lexus, their demographics is looking for. They don't want a million different settings. They want something that's going to ride very nice, that is going to be very reliable, easy to own, and then not have a bunch of different settings that you need to go through. So for $50,000, you're not getting quite as much technology as some other brands, but you're also not spending as much either. So I think that price can be justified for the car that you're getting, and especially for the F Sport. This is basically the highest trim level for the ES350. So it's going to have the wheels, the suspension, like I mentioned earlier. Not a whole lot of other goodies for the F Sport model or for the F Sport trim for it. And then with the paddle shifters, we can drop it down to second gear, give it a little bit of gas. I will say it's not the quickest car for being the F Sport model. It doesn't add any horsepower or torque, but the shifts are incredibly smooth. I really like how responsive these paddles are, and it doesn't get any louder either. Lexus is not known for being a loud vehicle in general. They don't have any active exhaust for their cars. So it does provide you with that nice comfortable ride, and then a turn like that for the speeds that I can do today here, it is very planted feeling. So if you want a Lexus and you want it to perform a little bit better, you can get the F Sport package. So it really doesn't add anything to that MSRP, which is nice to see. And as we come around this left turn, going at the speed limit, like I mentioned, it's so solid and planted feeling. I really like how this rides and drives. And now that I've put a few more miles on it, I'm still in the Sport S. You can hear some of these bumps, but I mean, it floats. It almost floats like you're on a cloud with that stiffer suspension. If you can comprehend that, it's still a nice ride overall. And as far as just driving this, wind noise, road noise, it's pretty quiet. And the interior, for the money that you're paying for this, there's really no plastic anywhere. There might be a little bit on the dash here, but you have a lot of leather, a lot of premium feeling materials to make it look very upscale for the money that you're putting down for this car. And still in Sport S Plus, here we go. With a mild acceleration, we are up to the speed limit. And like I said, it's not a quick car. I'm not doing a heavy acceleration for a new vehicle like this. But you're not buying this to be a performance-oriented sedan necessarily as far as speed goes. But as far as turns like this back road that I'm on, super, super solid. So if you want something that is going to handle well, if you're doing a lot of driving like this, you have the car to take these turns. So for a $50,000 car, you're getting a lot more luxury aspects to it, I would say. But with the F Sport, then you're adding some of those performance characteristics, or handling characteristics, I should say. The model that we're in right now is the F Sport handling. So like I mentioned earlier, the F Sport, this is the F Sport handling, which gives you that suspension as well. So it's nice. It's a nice blend. For a comfortable car, you can definitely rack up the miles behind this and be super comfortable driving this every single day. So if you're more on that luxury side, you want to be comfortable while you're driving this all the time, it's a pretty good Lexus model to get. Very spacious too for the size. It's not the smallest sedan from Lexus, so it gives you a good amount of space. And we are up to speed. I don't think it's underpowered by any means for the weight especially. So I think that is going to wrap it up for this 2023 Lexus ES350 F Sport. Once again, huge shout out to Hendrick Lexus Northlake for providing this sedan for me today. Check out their website. Also give the video a huge thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and smash that subscribe button so you don't miss out on our daily uploads. I will see you all in the next video.